Today we are moving on. Thanks for joining me. We're moving on to a new project. So I have a brand new piece of paper here. We're using Bristol board again. This is, I'll put it on the screen here. This is a Strathmore Bristol board. We're using 11 by 14, 100 pound. So it's thick. All right, this is good stuff. It's got a nice smooth surface. Highly recommend it for a lot of your basic drawings. You know, if you're an advanced artist, you might want to use something different, but this is a nice smooth surface for what we're doing here today. So what are we doing here today? I'm going to show you. So in this box here, so I've got this box and I've got it set up with some shapes. It's hard to see, so I'm going to zoom in here. I think that should do it. Let's see. There we go. Nice and big. So we got some nice shapes here. Hopefully you can see it. All right, we got some nice shapes here, and we're going to draw those shapes. So this is the first kind of, you know, we've only done one project so far, I get it, but we are going to do our best to try to draw this. Should I zoom out again? No, I'm going to leave it right there because it's not too bad. All right, so I'm going to start out with a fairly light pencil, and we're going to start with a 5H, okay? And I'm just going to kind of point around here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So how do you draw shapes freehand? I guess that's a difficult thing to talk about. So this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, a sphere is just that. It's a sphere. So it's hard for me to kind of see what I'm doing here. So you know, you're just drawing a circle. That's not too hard, but the sphere sitting on this box here, so I would probably start with this box. Right now, vertical lines will always be vertical. So we've got 3 vertical lines here. So you just need to gauge how far apart those vertical lines are, right? And then what angle, right? What angle is the top line and the bottom line, and then what angle is that side line and that side line, right? And this one, those two on this side will be parallel essentially with this line over here. Same thing with this bottom line here, parallel, whoops, went too far, parallel there, and then the back one is parallel. It's kind of hidden back there, but that's also parallel. So cubes are pretty simple too. And then you've got your cone here. You just have to understand this angle here, and then remember in my first lesson, that bottom thing is really just it's just a sphere. It's just an oval actually. So you're just going to draw an oval, and half the oval will get hidden, half the oval will become the front here. So don't get too bogged down in details. I'll take a picture of this for the YouTube channel from my perspective here, so that you're looking at the exact same thing if you want to. But what I want you to do is I want you to get 3 shapes, 3 white shapes, put them in a white box. If you don't have a white box, I happen to find this white box, which was a miracle. If you don't happen to have a white box, then line your white box with some white paper, and then take some white paper. That's what I did. I took a couple pieces of my Bristol board here, and I rolled them up into a cone, and I cut it up for a cube. And then my son happened to have a white baseball that was sitting in the garage, so I grabbed that as my third object. I wish it was a little bit more white, but that's okay. So let's just get started. So from my perspective here, what I'm going to do, and let me back up here again so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So as I'm doing this, What I would recommend, if you're having trouble, I want you to hold your pencil out kind of in front of you, you know, with artwork in front of you, and you close one eye. So you sit here and you close one eye and you hold it out in front of you, and gauge where those angles are with that one eye closed. And you can kind of see, okay, that's if I hold it straight flat, all right, horizontal with the ground, or excuse me, parallel with the ground, you know, I can kind of gauge, okay, that's flat. If I turn it, okay, maybe that's my angle for the cube, or maybe that's my angle for the cone compared to a vertical line. So that's using your pencil as your guide is a great trick. Highly recommended. So first thing is I'm going to look at that that cube, I think. So I know where my vertical lines are, and you want to try to fill your page if you can. So another thing you're going to want to do is compare where everything is to each other. So if I start drawing that cone, or that, excuse me, that cube, I want that cube to be, say, this big on my page. I know the cone is probably twice the height, so if the cube is this tall, the cone will be about that tall, right? And that'll take up the space over here. So I'm going to try to take up a good amount of space on this page. So I'm just going to draw some vertical lines. Remember, pull. Your arm shouldn't be on the page. You're just pulling down with your elbow. Pull this up a little bit so you can see better. Hopefully you can see my lines. It will show up better. All right, that looks good. And now I'm looking at that angle there, the right side of that cube, and I know that this one is going to be parallel to that. And then how far away is this here? All right, that looks good. And then now when you're drawing this one, I'm going to draw it from, kind of got the angle, I want to draw it a little sharper. When you're drawing this one, take a look at it. Does that look like the same box that you were just looking at over in the example, right? Or is it might be a little flatter actually. Yeah, I like that one better. So erasing is part of the process, right? And let me draw that parallel first, going up from here. I think I like that line there. And remember, this one should be parallel with the one on the bottom, so I'm just going to kind of follow that parallel here. Now, if it doesn't look like a natural square box, then, you know, you might have a problem. That's okay. Try again. Look at the angle. Get your pencil out in front of you. Is that the same angle that you're seeing? Is that the same angle that you're seeing there? It's okay to start again. I'm just going to kind of pull this one here. You look at that. And this one, I just see a little bit of it here. All right. Now, I'm going to hold off on that sphere because I want to get this cone going here. Now, the cone, if I look at the very bottom of where that cone is, the space between the cone, you can set yours up just like mine. That cone comes down just like that here. All right. And like I said, it's probably twice as tall or so. So I'm looking at that. Let's take a look, right? So I'm looking at that there, and then the other side will come down, and the other side, when you're doing it, right, you've got this angle here. You can imagine a vertical line here this angle should be pretty much the opposite of that line, right? This might be a little short. We'll have to see. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to draw my... Now, if this is your first time drawing something from sight, you might be having a hard time. It's okay. The more you do it, the more you'll get used to doing it. All right? I do like that there. Maybe that height is okay. I'm trying to look at it, that cone or that cube in the cone. Yeah, that might be all right. We'll see how the sphere lines up with it, right? So let's look again, right? Back, not too bad. Now, remember my perspective here is a little bit different. I'm not right where the camera is. And that sphere starts around there. I'll tell you, spheres are hard to draw for a lot of people. My first drawing class, I spent 3 full classes, 3 days of classes, 3 hours each class, drawing spheres, right? And let's see the height of that compared to the height of that, so it's a little bit shorter than that. And I can draw spheres pretty good now. Not perfect all the time, that's okay. Looks a little wonky somewhere, maybe here. You're just sketching it in, you're just getting the general layout. Now this is a little bit small on the page. I wish I drew it a little bit bigger, but the shapes aren't that big. I don't want to blow it out of proportion. I think that looks pretty good. Now there's some lines on this sphere too. It's a baseball. It's got these little fake baseball stitches in it. I'm probably going to model those in there eventually, so I'm just going to give myself some reference to where those are. You don't have to do this if you can imagine where everything is. But I'm going to try to get as detailed as I can. And then over here, this one is like that. It comes up like that. Something like that. All right. Let's get into shading. Once you've got your shapes lined up and they're all they're looking like they're generally where they need to be, now we start looking at shading. So one thing to recognize, right? We're working with white objects. These objects are not nearly as dark as what we had been drawing for our shades in our original shading. I've got mine over to the side there so I can kind of use it for reference. Maybe let me get this down here. Maybe the shadow underneath this cone here, maybe that's a 5, all right? This shadow in the background, we're going to draw the background. That might be a 4 or a 3, maybe a 3, right? I think that shadow in the background is a 3. This shadow over here might be a 4 on the side of the cube here. And notice, right? You've got dark here on the cube at the bottom, dark here on the cube at the top, and then diagonally, it's lighter, right? Things are not uniform all the time, all the way around. You've got to look at the differences between where there's shadow and where there's not shadow. I mean, look at the edge of this cone here. We've got this shadow coming off of the sphere, but then where right at the edge, it gets really light all the way down, right? That's reflective light going into the shadow. So make sure that you pay attention to those things, and you're not just going willy-nilly crazy trying to figure out or just putting everything flat. But anyways, moving on. I'm going to go back to my drawing here, and we're going to start shading. So I'll start with the cube. Let's look at the top of the cube. That looks like maybe a 2 to me. I'm just going to shade it in real light to start with. Draw what you see, not what you think you see. All right, keep looking at that. Keep looking at that. Those models that you've got set up. And draw what you see. I got to get this background in here. This is pretty dark right here. I gotta go to work soon. Almost time to go to work. That's okay. You just got to build it up, man. You just got to keep going. Build it up little by little. And then down here, this kind of extends out. This is pretty dark here too. All right, coming along. It's interesting the values that I see. I'm getting all confused up here because this is definitely darker than back here, but well, I guess this gets much lighter going up that way. Like that's probably okay. Right. Yeah, no way I'm going to finish this today. Not with work creeping in. It's all right. I'll finish it on Monday. So I'm gonna start scheduling my time. I think that's important. All right. Darker. All right, decent start. I got a ways to go. It's not quite. If I look at this now, like I can see all the shapes. They all feel somewhat three-dimensional. There's no tone back here whatsoever. See, I keep seeing things and I'm like, I gotta fix that right now. There's definitely a tone back here. That looks a little bit better. Yeah. So if I look at this, it looks fine. But if I look at this, right? Now recognize what you see on the screen is a little bit darker than what I actually see here. But what I do notice is that I'm not anywhere near the amount of value that I need. My drawing looks light, especially around the sphere, looks way too light. And the cone looks way too light too, to be honest with you. The background is, the background's a big area. It's got some problems here and there that I want to fix, but it's a very large area. I'm not going to cover the whole page, but I want to give at least the impression of a background that's a little nicer looking than it is right now. It's okay, but it's not right where I want it to be. Anyways, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'll be back Monday morning, probably 7:30. I'll schedule it in my scheduler, and hopefully you'll join me. So thanks for joining, and happy drawing. Have a great day, everyone.